What's going on, YouTube? This is Unger to the Max here. Salute. And it is about 8:36 on Tuesday, March 27, 2018. So, like I said last night, I will be posting videos from the videos that I took from Monday Night Raw last night. I'll be posting them later. I might not post them right away. But before I get into the main, actually I'm in the main part of the vlog, and it's more of a rant actually, because I'm very upset with the WWE. Why? Because the biggest event of the WWE year, WrestleMania, is in 2 weeks. Count them, 1, 2. And at WrestleMania, Alexa Bliss will be facing Nia Jax for the Raw Women's Championship. Charlotte Flair will be facing Asuka for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Ronda Rousey will be making her WWE debut in a mixed tag team match with Kurt Angle against Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. AJ Styles will be facing Shinsuke Nakamura for a championship. I forget which championship it is right now. And there's going to be several. John Cena might be facing The Undertaker if The Undertaker ever responds. But here's the problem. You can only watch WrestleMania if you have WWE Network. And how do you get WWE Network? By either doing a 30-day free trial online or paying money. I don't want to do either option. WrestleMania is a huge event. Why is WrestleMania only not being shown on TV on, I don't know, national broadcasts like Fox or NBC or USA, which is normally with their home network? Or why isn't WrestleMania on pay-per-view? It's so stupid to me. It really is. Like, what if I don't want to pay? What if I don't want to pay the money to? What if I don't want to pay the money for WWE Network, but I want to watch WrestleMania 34? I'm stuck. What do you expect me to do? I'm not gonna go and pay the money for WrestleMania. Don't be ridiculous. Now, 1 second. Will I maybe do the 30-day free trial? Yes, but still, WrestleMania is, I would say, is arguably just as big of an event as the Super Bowl. Some might argue that the Super Bowl is 10 times bigger, but others might argue that WrestleMania is actually bigger than the Super Bowl. But regardless of that, I am furious with WWE, even though I had an amazing time at WrestleMania last night, because I really did. But actually, I shouldn't be playing with my slinky right now. But I had an amazing time last night. It was definitely worth going to. And if Monday Night Raw comes to Cleveland again, I definitely want to go. Monday Night Raw and the UFC are two very different things, though. I've been to both now at the Q. I went to UFC 203 when the UFC came to the Octagon. The Octagon came to Cleveland for the first time ever. And I'm going to take this opportunity to ask some questions. Because I have some questions for the UFC. First one. And I know this might not sound like a level playing field, But UFC 203 was in Cleveland. So the Octagon came to Cleveland first. And then UFC 205 was at Madison Square Garden. And UFC 208 was at Barclays Center in Brooklyn. But has the UFC been back to Cleveland since? No. But UFC 217, that was at Madison Square Garden. UFC 223 in Brooklyn. Now I get it. Madison Square Garden is on a completely different playing field than Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland. I get it. I totally get that. But to the same degree, UFC 205 came after UFC 203. So, in between, and then the Octagon came back to Madison Square Garden for UFC 217. And then UFC 208 was in Brooklyn. And now they're going right back to Brooklyn for UFC 223. Why hasn't the Octagon come back to Cleveland yet? So, I have a question for you, Dana White, if you somehow see this video, which it would be awesome if you do. When is the UFC going to come back to Cleveland? And my second question is, in order for the UFC to come back to Cleveland, does it depend on Stipe Miocic remaining the UFC heavyweight champion? Or was it just that Stipe becoming heavyweight champion gave the UFC a reason to come to Cleveland? Also, I have a question for Daniel Cormier, because you said that in your UFC 203 post-fight interview on UFC tonight on Fox, you were interviewing Stipe after he had beaten Alistair Overeem in Cleveland in front of his hometown fans. In Cleveland, at the Q, you were saying, our Cavaliers, our Monsters, our Indians. But you're not from Cleveland. So why are you saying all that? Because also, when you were in Cleveland to do In the Clinch with Stipe, you were wearing an Indians hat. Was that just because you were in the city of Cleveland? Or do you have some sort of connection to the city of Cleveland that many of us don't know? I would love to know. But there definitely is a difference between the UFC and WWE. But that doesn't in the UFC there's no stairs, there's no tables, there's no going outside the octagon and punching each other and throwing things at each other. There's none of that. It's just straight up punching each other in the face, kicking each other in the face, starting to punch out like that, and then going like that. Whereas in the WWE, you can throw stairs at each other. You can, let's see, what else? You can kick each other you can throw each other into the barricades of the ring. You can, there's so many more things you can do. And there's different types of matches, there's Hell in a Cell. There's a no disqualification match, which is what it was between Cena and Kane last night. Meaning that they were allowed to go outside the ring and hit each other with stairs, throw each other through tables, hit each other against the broadcaster's booth. It was mayhem. But it was a lot of fun. I would go back to either one, whichever one comes back to Cleveland, UFC or WWE. Both are fantastic, but both are different. And that's what I love, is that they're both great sports. But WWE is in the sports entertainment industry. I hope that doesn't burst the bubble of anybody, Because even if you know that it's sports entertainment, it's still great to watch. It really is. So, but I can't get over how furious I am with the WWE that the biggest event of your year, WrestleMania, when you have several championships on the line, and Ronda Rousey making her WWE debut, you only make it available on WWE Network, which either you have to pay money for to subscribe or do a 30-day free trial. Why not just do a pay-per-view of WrestleMania on TV or put it on national TV? I don't get it. I guess this is more of a rant combined with a vlog, but it just really, really, really makes me upset because it just really bothers me, and it really bugs me. But now to another issue. Let me check my UFC app here. So I want to check how many days away this big event is. This event that I'm about to tell you about is one of the biggest pay-per-views the UFC has put together this calendar year so far. UFC 226 might top it. So there's 11 days until UFC 223. Ferguson versus Khabib. So this is the third time, I believe this is the third time they have tried to put this fight together. The last time they tried to do it was the co-main event of UFC 209. Woodley against Thompson 2. But the reason the fight didn't happen was because Khabib missed weight. So, but this time, they're going to be the main event. As long as both fighters make weight and are able to make the walk. And there's no steroids, no illegal substances, nothing. As long as all that happens and neither fighter misses the weight cut, this fight is going to happen. And this is one of the fights that as a UFC fan, I have been waiting for I couldn't tell you how long. Because one of the biggest reasons I'm excited for this fight is because it will determine, as long as it happens, I can't emphasize that enough, as long as this fight happens, it will determine who the real undisputed UFC lightweight champion is. Why? Because Conor McGregor won the lightweight championship belt from Eddie Alvarez at UFC 205. But has he defended it since? No, he has not. After he won it, he decided, you know what? What do I want to do? Do I want to defend the belt? Or do I want to go into the boxing world and face Floyd Mayweather? I'll do that. So that's what he did. And he made a crap ton of money. But still, it's been 2 years. And still, he has not defended the belt. But even when he won the featherweight belt after he beat Jose Aldo in 13 seconds at UFC 194, he didn't defend the belt. He wanted to move right up to lightweight and face Rafael dos Anjos. But that didn't happen. Instead, he faced Nate Diaz at welterweight at UFC 196. Nate Diaz beat him, so McGregor asked for a rematch with the same thing, welterweight, even though they both could have made lightweight the second time, but McGregor said, no, circumstances need to be the same. And that's what happened in the main event of UFC 202. And then McGregor, after beating Diaz in a rematch by majority decision, McGregor knocked out Eddie Alvarez at the main event of UFC 205, which was the first time the UFC had ever been in New York. So it only made sense to do it at Madison Square Garden. But, and then after that, McGregor went on to face Floyd Mayweather when he lost in the 10th round. So, as long as both Tony Ferguson and Khabib Nurmagomedov make the walk and the octagon doors close behind them, once the first punch is thrown, Conor McGregor should be vacated of the lightweight belt. Now, I know Conor McGregor fans are going to say, he'll defend the belt, he'll defend the belt. No, he won't. He should have defended the belt by now. It's been 2 years. He last fought in the UFC at UFC 205. We're now at UFC 223. Come on. You had plenty of time during that span to defend the belt. You had 206, 207. You had UFC 206 all the way to UFC 223. Nope, he didn't. So, Conor McGregor at this point needs to be vacated. As long as both Ferguson and Khabib make the walk and the octagon door closes behind them, once a punch is thrown, Conor McGregor needs to be stripped of the lightweight belt, and whoever wins this fight between Tony Ferguson and Khabib Nurmagomedov should be crowned the undisputed UFC lightweight champion. Because Ferguson won last fought Kevin Lee at UFC 216 for the interim belt, and he won. So now he's the, until Conor McGregor gets vacated, Ferguson is still considered the interim champion. But, in my opinion, McGregor's not even the champion anymore. The real champion is Tony Ferguson. That's just my opinion. So that's going to do it for my sports vlog today. I guess this was also a UFC and WWE thoughts video as well as a rant video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Wait, let me rephrase that. I hope everyone enjoyed this. If you did, punch that like button like a UFC fighter. And punch that subscribe button. I'll be looking forward to seeing you tonight for a Cavaliers reaction live stream as the Cavaliers try to quench the heat down in Miami at American Airlines Arena tonight at 8 o'clock on TNT. I'll be seeing you later. Let me try that again. There we go.